So let's start this. Now we're going to talk about direct recording. Direct recording. What do I mean by direct recording? Direct recording is when you record something in your digital audio workstation in your DAW, like Reaper or Cubase or Pro Tools or whatever you have, and you can listen to your tone that you create on a track in your DAW while playing. So this is something that seems to be pretty normal for a lot of people. Everyone who uses amp simulations like Amplitude or the TSE X50 or Recabinet, the Thermionic amp simulations, or the Powell and LePou plugins, like the how it's called, the Lecto or the Le 456 amp simulations, and everybody who is recording with amp simulation is kind of familiar probably with direct recording. So what you basically do, you put your plugins on a track in your digital audio workstation, your software, and you can listen to the sound of that amp simulation plugins or of that plugin chain on your tracks while recording. But on the other hand, there are some people out there, most of them are probably beginners who just started with digital audio recording. They want to dive into that world. They want to record their guitar. Most of the times, those are the metal guys who want to record their metal guitar while they're playing it. And for those beginners, everyone starts at a specific moment in time, right? I once was a beginner too. So those guys struggle a little bit with the fact that you can actually listen to your amp simulation plugins while recording, and they just don't know how to do that. There are a lot of comments on YouTube on my channel where I get asked, man, okay, you got a nice tone with that plugin, but how can I listen to that while recording? I'm not able to accomplish that. So this is what I want to talk about now. And for that, I want to first get rid of some common mistakes that beginners do, or some bad ideas or some bad approaches that beginners usually tend to follow. The first thing that I want to talk about is the ASIO for All audio driver and the Realtek onboard audio interfaces. These are the little audio interfaces, the sound cards, which chip on your main board, on your motherboard of your PC. They are usually called Realtek HD Audio AC889 or something like that. The small chips on your motherboard are capable of playing back music or capable of making sound. That's basically what it is. You can listen to music through it. You can plug in like a headphone microphone. You can plug in your headphones, and you can play games with it. That's basically what these audio interfaces are for. These audio interfaces are not bad. They are not bad. They sound okay. Realtek developed those chips over years now, and they have become a pretty decent audio playback device for Windows or Mac or for every operating system out there. So if you're a gamer, you play PC games, or if you just want to listen to music, those audio chips are pretty decent. They sound nice, and basically that's it. But if you want to dive into professional audio engineering or even semi-professional audio engineering like I do, I'm just a hobby audio engineer, that's basically where the limit of or where Realtek audio interfaces reach the limit of capabilities, I guess. And especially on direct recording, when you want to plug in a guitar in your audio interface, the Realtek audio chips are not the way to go. Why? Because there's one special thing about professional audio interfaces. Most of them provide you with a high Z input, or sometimes it's just called an instrument input, or to put it generally, it's called an high impedance input. What is that? It's an input that has a crazy amount of input impedance or resistance that matches your output impedance of a guitar humbucker or a bass guitar humbucker. I don't want to get too specific about this, especially this topic, because I'm bad at explaining the electronics and the physics behind that. But the only thing I want to say is the Realtek audio chips don't provide such an input, so you are not able to plug in your electronic or your electric guitar like this 7-string ESP LTD MH417, which I'm going to be using in this tutorials. You cannot plug in such a guitar into your Realtek audio device. Therefore, you need a more professional audio device. And here's my first tip. If you want to record guitar or bass directly to your audio interface, you have to invest some money into a more professional audio interface. A more professional audio interface doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to get such a thing. You don't need an RME Fireface for $1,900. No. I'm going to be using the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 audio interface. This is an audio interface for about $130, and there's even a smaller version called a Focusrite Scarlett Solo, which provides you with a microphone input, a line input, and an instrument input for your guitars. That's all you need, and a stereo output to connect your speakers. That's basically all you need. And the most important thing about such an audio interface is it supports ASIO drivers from Steinberg. What's so special about the ASIO drivers? The ASIO drivers are real-time audio processing audio drivers. So these drivers are capable of recording and playing back audio in real time. So if you play your guitar, you can listen to that tone in real time. And that's basically what we want, right? That is what we're looking for. And there is an ASIO driver for Realtek audio devices, or for any audio devices out there, which is called ASIO for All. And I strongly don't recommend that driver, because using the ASIO driver or the ASIO for All driver on your Realtek device, it's kind of like taking a wheelchair and building a Ferrari motor or a Ferrari engine into it, and then claiming, I own a Ferrari. No, you own a wheelchair with a Ferrari engine. That's a difference, right? That's a difference, because the wheelchair with a Ferrari engine probably won't work that good. I don't know, maybe someone should try it. I smell a YouTube video here. Ferrari engine in a wheelchair. That's gonna be awesome. But where to buy that Ferrari engine? I think I don't have enough money for that. Okay, so don't rape the shit out of your Realtek audio devices. Don't use that ASIO for All driver. please invest the $80 or $100 to get yourself a semi-professional audio interface like the Focusrite Scarlett Solo. These are great audio interfaces for a very low price. It's not that big of an investment, but if you want to have good audio quality on your HDD, you need to invest some money. That's it, you know. Without an invest, there's no outcome. That's how audio engineering works, basically. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm gonna plug in my guitar directly to my Focusrite 2i2 input, and I don't know. My cable of the webcam is too short, unfortunately. So you gotta believe me. Every microphone input or every input of the Focusrite Scarlett series has a little switch to it that is labeled with line/instrument. And what you want to do, if you plug in a guitar, whatever guitar, 6-string, 7-string, bass guitar, you got to switch that input. You plug the guitar in to instrument. What that does is it raises the input impedance of that audio interface input by a lot to match the output impedance of your guitar. Like I said, I don't want to go too far into detail. It just makes your signal very clean and awesome. And that's what we want. Okay? So we got to keep this a beginner tutorial, right? So just plug in your guitar into your audio interface and switch it to instrument input. And there you go. So the next thing is every audio interface like the Focusrite that I'm using comes with a certain driver, most likely the ASIO driver. And the Focusrite audio interfaces do have a little control panel. And this is not very big. You can do one single thing. You can adjust the buffer length. Okay, what's that? We talked about real-time audio processing, and every audio interface has some input and output latency. And that is mostly what disturbs your playing. So if I go ahead and pull this little slider here to 10 milliseconds and hit apply, what now happens is if I play my guitar, it will take at least 10 milliseconds until this audio source or this audio signal from my guitar hits my audio software. So the audio interface has 10 milliseconds of time to process the audio. The problem is your audio just got into the software. Now it has to get out of it again. And that takes the exact same amount of time. A little less. Don't want to get too much into details here. But you can say if your buffer length is like 10 milliseconds, sometimes the buffer length is labeled as samples. So like 2 milliseconds is like 64 samples. You gotta look at that. But on the Focusrite audio interfaces, it's labeled in milliseconds. So like I said, if I adjust it to 10 milliseconds, the audio source from my guitar takes 10 milliseconds to get into the audio software through the audio interface, and it takes nearly 10 milliseconds to get out again. So that makes a total of 20 milliseconds. 20 milliseconds is not that much. It's crazy fast, but it's slow enough to make your guitar playing feel bad. You play your guitar and you are like, something is wrong. It feels just odd. It feels odd. And that's the little latency, the 20 milliseconds. You can feel it. You really can feel 20 milliseconds of delay. So what you want to do is you want to adjust your buffer length to the shortest amount of time possible. And that's very dependent on your CPU and on the speed of your CPU. I use a i7 6700K processor from Intel here. So it's a very, very, very fast Scalett processor. And I can get my slider down to 1 millisecond. So my input-output latency of the audio signal is somewhere around 2 milliseconds, right? And that's goddamn fast. And if I now play my guitar, it feels real. It's just no delay, you know? It feels like I'm playing through an amp. But the downside of adjusting the buffer length to a shorter value, or to a shorter value here, is that it takes a lot more CPU power to process the audio in that speed. So if your CPU is too slow to handle that, you can encounter some crackling in your audio. You will encounter some, you play, you hear your tone, but you will encounter some crackling. That's when you have to step up a little bit and maybe pull the lever one step to the right to 2 milliseconds. And then you try again. And if the crackling has gone away, you're good. If not, just step up the slider a little bit more, okay? But basically, the faster your CPU is, the faster you can adjust your buffer length. You don't need an i7 CPU to be able of or to be capable of real-time audio processing. A mid-range CPU like an AMD FX 6300 for $100 is sufficient. It's not that crazy in order to accomplish direct recording. If you want to play back a whole project with a lot of plugins with 1 millisecond audio delay, that's another story. So the more plugins you have in a project, the more CPU power you have to use, right? So the stronger your CPU must be. But for the time being, we just want to accomplish direct guitar recording. So we're gonna add a track in our DAW. This is Caucus Reaper. Everyone asked me that. It's amazing how few people know about this DAW. So it's not Cubase, it's not Logic, it's not Pro Tools, it's not Studio One. It is Reaper, and it's goddamn cheap. It's about $60 for a personal license. It's amazing. One of the best audio softwares out there. Okay, so we got a track. I'm gonna label it. No, I'm not gonna label it guitar. I'm gonna label it badass metal because we're so awesome. Okay, so like I said, I adjusted the buffer length to 1 millisecond delay, and your audio software just shows you the input-output latency of your ASIO driver right on top here. I don't know how about Cubase and Logic. Probably they are capable of showing you the real input-output latency somewhere in the software. Reaper just shows your configuration of the audio device here. So I got a 96 kilohertz 24-bit wave recording setting here. I got 2 input channels, 2 output channels, and 96 samples, and that results in an input latency of 2.6 milliseconds and an output latency of 3.6 milliseconds. This is goddamn fast, and it's using the ASIO driver. Every audio software has a device configuration where you can choose your audio system or your audio driver, and you have to make sure that you're using the ASIO driver and not some WDM, kernel streaming, direct sound wave output, or whatever have you, or WAS API for a Windows 7, 8 Vista. No, don't use those. You need to choose the ASIO driver, hell. And that's your fast real-time audio driver. So I got this selected here, and yeah, everything seems to be okay. So now we create a track, hit record, And now we got to select the input. And my guitar is plugged into the first input of my audio device, which is input 1. And we're recording mono. So if I play now, you can see, okay, the signal's hitting my audio software, but I cannot hear anything, right? If I hit record, as you can see, I can record something. And if I play it back now, you can hear badass metal. Oh, yeah. This is the direct signal of my guitar. So now, what to do in order to hear what I play in real time? And every audio software has a specific button for that. Most of the times you can find this button on the track. And this button is called Record Monitoring. That's how it's called in Reaper. I don't know about Cubase or Logic, but it has some similar capabilities on the tracks. So if I hit that button once, Record Monitoring is on now. And now listen. Oh, okay. We got real-time monitoring enabled. That is everything we need in order to listen to our sound in real time. This audio from the guitar goes straight into the audio interface. It hits the audio software, gets sent from the audio software out to the interface again, and out to my headphones or your speakers. So now, what now? What to do next? I want to hear badass metal tone, not the clean guitar signal. You cannot shred away with that. That's a little bit boring, maybe. So all we got to do is add in some plugins. And by the way, Reaper has a performance meter. This is very nice. It shows you every plugin that is available in the project and every plugin that's active. Right now, we don't have any plugins added to the track, so our CPU basically is a little bit bored. It's like, no plugins. All right. So let's add in plugins, and this CPU value here, it's the amount of CPU that is used by Reaper to process your audio. If that hits 100%, increase your buffer length a little bit, or make sure you don't have that much plugins on your tracks. Or you can disable some other plugins on tracks you don't actually need right now for recording. But your CPU should not exceed 100% because otherwise you will encounter some crackling in the audio. All right. So let's add in random plugins. So I want badass metal. I probably use some kind of TSE X50. This is a guitar audio suite. So it provides you with stomp boxes, a preamp, a power amp, cabinet, and an FX rack. Okay, what does it sound like? Okay, here we go. And that's it. That's direct recording, you know? It's that easy. It's that easy. And if you want to go ahead, adjust it a little bit, okay, come on. Let's add in a nice distortion pedal here. I hear some noise, so let's add in a noise gate. Oops. Can I please? Thanks. Oh, crazy good UI. Crazy good UI. Okay, let's get rid of the noise. Bias a little bit more. And yeah, fuck the cabinet. All right. And there you go. You can listen to your audio in real time, and there's no delay. Actually, there is delay, but the delay is 3.6 milliseconds, and it's just not noticeable. You can shred away with 16 notes. That's just working. It feels great. And now we can record that. And you can listen to your tone while recording. And let's take a quick look at our performance meter. As you can see, I have a very beefy CPU, and we just hit, wow, 2.3% of CPU usage. So there, I can use a lot more plugins on my tracks. And now if we hit record, we can actually record something. All right, and if you play it back, nice. Okay, guys, that was the beginner tutorial on how to direct record a guitar or a bass guitar. That's exactly the same thing, by the way. If you want to record bass, just put in your bass plugins. And one last word about the volume. Some people record the direct signal extremely quiet, and some record it extremely loud. I like, there's a rule of thumb for direct recording in general. You have that meter here. This little number down here, it says minus 4.5 decibel max volume. So I can reset that value. Now it's showing a minus 82. And if I play, just watch your input level. And as a rule of thumb, your input level of your direct signal should be somewhere between -6 and -3 decibel. Then you're okay. If you exceed 0 dB, you're clipping the signal. That's bad. You will encounter crackling in your guitar tone. That's bad, 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 bad. Just make sure you stay under the mighty -3 or even -6 dB level, and you're all set up. Okay, that concludes it. That's the first beginner tutorial. I hope it helped you a lot, and we could get rid of some myths about direct recording. So thank you for watching.